I think victory has defeated them. Because sometimes when you win, and the way they won last season, there's something winning does to you, both a positive and a negative, where that extra bit that makes you special. And I think that's what Rooney was probably alluding to. Because again, Rooney knows what it takes to play well, win a title, and go back again. Because they'll tell you like winning a title is hard, but defending a title is harder than winning one. So I think they've lost that spark in that team. They've lost that. I don't want to say hunger, but
back everybody. Thanks for joining us. If you're watching us, please smash the like button, drop your comments, follow us, and then subscribe. Frank, how was your weekend?
It's good. It's been good. It's been good. I think this is one of the best weekends I've had this season.
You have 3 points, really... and 3 points last week, 3 points this week, and then Arsenal drop points again.
Arsenal dropping points, Liverpool dropping points, United and Tottenham dropping points, Newcastle dropping points as well, Bournemouth dropping points. Like, I think this week has been
okay. Let's go. Let me tell our viewers as well what is going to be our next topic next week. For discussion, our next topic next week, we're going to talk about Konate. If you're Liverpool, do you extend him, give him more money, or do you sell him, or do you let him go? That's not for today, but next today. Because I had watched it. I was like, we have to talk about this, but I don't want to make him a topic today because he was atrocious today. Like, and if you look at what happened to Salah, I'm thinking maybe not. So Liverpool, they lost again 3-0 to Manchester City. Where do they go from here?
I think they go back to the drawing board, and I think in recent weeks or in the last few games, after the heavy cup defeats, there was a bit of spark against Villa and against Real Madrid. Those were 2 good performances, but they were at home as well. So, but I think today lacked any hallmark of a good team. They lacked it today. They lacked ideas. They lacked solidity. They were not compact. They lacked intensity. And I know there's
yeah, denied it. Why Robinson was not Robinson?
Well, I think he's the wording they're using from the PGML is he was in the line of sight of the goalkeeper. I think,
but he wasn't interfering. No.
Exactly.
If that's the case, every other person is in line. Everybody. I get what I didn't even think to that side. Yeah, he wasn't interfering. It was just clear. The goalkeeper didn't even pay him no attention.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it wasn't.
And I think it's one of those ones where, even if he wasn't, I think the header was so good. I don't think Donnarumma stood a chance with or without an interference from Robinson. But again, I think at that point, I think that goal would have flattered Liverpool because I don't think they played well enough in that first half to deserve anything. And that being said, and with the way football works sometimes is that decision doesn't go your way, then you go on the other side and you get punished. And they did get punished, and at 2-0, it looked the game was done. I didn't see Liverpool coming back into the game at 2-0. I didn't see them creating enough or even troubling City enough. For me, at halftime, it became a question of how many can City get today.
Yeah.
And they ended up getting 3, which I felt they were quite happy with. But again, it's still, with Liverpool, there's so much there, and there's so much that's not working at the same time. Like, you have the tools.
Yeah, finish up.
Like you see, they have the tools. Like you have Mohamed Salah, you have the centre backs, you have Kerkez and Robertson, you have Florian Wirtz. I know some of those parts are not working, but you have the tools are there. Like I don't, and when you see the product on the pitch, sometimes it's not inspiring. And that's at what point do we look at the manager for more ideas, for more inspiration, for more motivation, and even just better decision making when it comes to pitch and when it comes to the team. Florian Wirtz starting this game for me was a big red flag. He hasn't played well enough to earn a start, particularly playing out of position. And the problem we have with a guy like Florian Wirtz is not just him; it's the price tag. You can't keep a 130 million pound signing on the bench. And what you end up showing the guy into the team wherever you can, because you can. Okay, I can understand the rationale. Oh, that team played well against Madrid. We'll go with the team again. But you know what City are vulnerable for. City are very vulnerable to pace out wide. You know how you can hold that team. And I don't think that's Florian Wirtz. He didn't have a good game. I know this is a player I loved watching at Leverkusen, But when do we get to a point like just like you know what? Right now, he's just not it. Like let's not. This is 11 games into the Premier League season, and I don't think he's played anywhere near. He hasn't put in anywhere near a good performance in 11 games in the Premier League, that's been frankly honest. Or I'm being a bit kind because I won't go further and say the guys like Harvey Elliott that was there last season that was moved on to Aston Villa. I think if Elliott was still in this,
Elliott had a better season than him.
He would, but if Elliott goes, more assists, and his overall play will be good. Because there's certain times I see him, the way he overhits or is underhitting the pass is just for a player that's been again. I don't understand it. I don't understand. It's a mystery, and you go back to the foundations of this team, the centre back pairing. Again, I wasn't a big fan of Virgil van Dijk given the whole interaction with Wayne Rooney after the Madrid game. I didn't like that thing because I felt Rooney was as a professional. Like you could have easily made it a back and forth conversation. I think Rooney was very professional. He stood his ground like what I said what I said.
Oh, he confronted Rooney again.
Yeah, no, they did after the Real Madrid game. After the Real Madrid game, they do the post-match analysis, and this was for Amazon TV. For what happened, what was reported was the TV guys were looking to speak to Conor Bradley, but Virgil van Dijk came forward and said, "No, I want to talk to you guys." And obviously you can see Rooney there. So I feel he saw Rooney there. Like, okay, I'm going to make a point of this. Come out and talk to you guys. Rooney's there. Like you can see, it was very.
I'll go back and watch it. Yeah,
I think it's very interesting. But like it's even I think even Arne Slot came. They were all trying to take digs at Rooney. Like okay, what you said wasn't right. But again, I still feel what Rooney said. You might not like it. You might disagree with it. But that's what he's there to do. He's there to He's there to give his opinion. And again, I feel Virgil van Dijk has not been playing well this season. Anybody that says otherwise is lying. The facts that again today not a good performance. Konate, who we'll speak about at some point. Konate, it's like when we watch Chelsea, I will look at Tosin, I will look at Chalobah sometimes. Like these guys are not like Konate. Konate scares me when I watch him play.
And his mindset. That's why I feel is he can't be that bad overnight.
Yeah,
something has gone wrong. Like and the greatest problem I have with Liverpool is I won't say but I can't tell what is wrong. I just know something is not working.
No. I think it comes down to one phrase, and it's I think victory has defeated them, because sometimes when you win, and the way they won last season, it's there's something winning does to you, both a positive and a negative, where that extra bit that makes you special, and I think that's what Rooney was probably alluding to, because again Rooney knows what it takes to play well, win a title, and go back again. Because it's not, because they'll tell you like winning a title is hard, but defending a title is harder than winning one. So I think they've lost that spark in that team. They've lost that. I don't want to say hunger, but they've just.
Sorry to cut you short. You just say something that just I can't stop laughing at. You made a quotation. I had to write it down. You say victory has defeated them, and it's from, I've never heard it before. I had to write it down.
No, I think our listeners who watch movies, it's from the Dark Knight Rises. When
I don't watch movies,
there's a scene where Bane. I think those that not know. There's a scene when Bane is fighting Batman. I just tell him like, after years of you being a successful vigilante in this city, you've stopped crime, you've won, but you got lazy. You're not as strong as you were, and you can't compete with me again, because right now I'm the stronger animal right now. You're not as strong as you were. You're not as focused. And I think that's what they need to. They need to go back and.
Do you know where one industry or one area of life you don't need this victory? When it comes to gambling and crypto.
Okay.
Yeah, when you buy the first coin on crypto, and you make so much money, you think that's why? You think it's so easy. You think it's so easy. You don't prepare. That's why I just wanted to like.
No, because like I remember when watching that movie, and that quote just stood out to me, because it's so funny, because that's basically what life is. Like sometimes it's not that you
getting it easy so early or something. It can destroy you without you realizing.
And again, I think with Liverpool, because I think Szoboszlai has been the most consistent player this season, and that's a big problem. You can have those guys they have in that attack, the guys they have in that team, the Salahs, Virgil van Dijk. I know Alisson's missing. There's no, you bring in Ekiti. They spent almost £500 million. And the quality on show is so bad.
And we are not even complaining about the new goalkeeper. It's not like he's having a very bad game. It's not like
okay.
The other guy would have done better, yeah, but if he was having a very bad season, he would have said, oh, it's because of the goalkeeper. And Salah, everything he's touching is not working. He just can't get it right. He had some games. The KTK has gone back to, you don't even realize how.
KTK, that's like, again, and this is why, like, I think the tinkering with bringing Isaac, putting the kitchen on the bench, it also affected his performance. Now he's gone 5 league games without a goal. In all competitions, it's 1 goal in 7.
So this is, hold on, let me, and if there's anything that you cannot, there are 2 teams. I won't say 2 teams. I will say like 3 teams. There are 3 teams I watched in my 3 very successful teams I watched in my active football years. Very extremely successful. You can't accuse them of one thing. Once you say they are lacking in that particular thing, that team is dead. Jose Mourinho's side, Chelsea, Inter team, Jurgen Klopp's Liverpool, Dortmund. You could see when the intensity went off in Dortmund. The last 2 years of his time in Dortmund, he went downhill. He was that. Then the last and not the least, Diego Simeone's Atletico Madrid. Like these 3, so many people have had intensity, but even Nuno at Wolves, they had some intensity with them, but they've not been that successful. These 3 people are teams I've called that were successful. Let's go. Our shots on target, City had 6, Liverpool had 1. Expected goals, City had 1.60, Liverpool had 0.7. Ground duels won, City had 61% won, Liverpool had 31. That's effort. Dribbles, successful dribbles, City had 69, Liverpool had 33. Liverpool didn't take a risk, they just passed the ball around. Area duels won, City had 62, Liverpool had 38. That tells you effort.
And it's also like, if you mirror this game back to this same fixture last season, where I think Liverpool won by 2 goals to 0, and City were in that period where they were not so good. I think if you look back on all the statistics you mentioned, I'm sure Liverpool were dominant in most of those statistics last season. And it's, again, I think they have
making top 4 might be difficult. What do you think?
I think I think they make top 4, but the question then becomes, how do you limit the damage? Because again, that's about 5 losses already. How do you limit the damage, and how do you get, because not just win, but win in the right way? Because again, this is Liverpool, and how do you get this players? Isaac again was on the bench today. He didn't come on. I don't think he was fit enough. But again, these are the issues. Isaac, Verts, Ekiti now, Salah, the defense, Konate, Bradley. I don't think Bradley got BTA belt to us. Like Doku was like, and I think we're doing City a bit of a disservice to not like.
Yeah, I want 3 topics next week. One of them is so dear to me. You know, I like Thomas Frank, and I want us to discuss if he's a mid-table manager or if he's a manager that can give you top 3. Then the second topic is going to be Jeremy Doku. I think he's having a season of his life. Yeah. So that's why I don't want to talk too much about him, but I think he's having a season of his life.
But, and just because I think like he had the man of the match performance, so just give him a bit of shy. I think Doku, this is a player that I think, again, it's not lost on me the fact that just during the summer holiday, he went back to Ghana. If you say Ghana, he spent a bit of time in Ghana, he connected back to his roots. I'm not saying 1 and 2, but I'm just saying it's not coincidental. And
they prepared him and gave him some things.
But just not even the preparation.
I didn't know he's Ghanaian. I didn't know.
But I think it's the focus. I think he looks like a player that is more focused this season. And I think he's a player that, of course, he's not always looked the best. He's looked like a player that the tools are there, but he just couldn't connect. Like, you understand? Like,
I watched this guy come on as a substitute. There was 1 Euro. So many years ago. I'm talking of close to 4 years ago. I didn't know him. He just came on as a substitute. They didn't win the game, but to me, he was the man of the match for Belgium in that particular game. I had to check him up. I think he was seen in Anderlecht that season.
No, he was in France. It
was after that tournament he moved. That tournament was still playing in Belgium. He went to a friend team. Was it Lille? I
Rennes.
forgot the team. Is it Rennes? Yeah. It was after that tournament, at the end of that Euro tournament, that he moved. So he was still playing in Belgium. And ever since that day, this guy has disappointed me till today, till this season. So I finally think that he has gotten it right.
Yeah. No, I think with Doku now, he's connecting the dots. He looks, and I think with him, because again, people always, like when they talk about Jack Grealish, they talk about how Pep stifled his creativity. Pep locked him in a cage, took away everything that made Grealish special. But when you see Doku now, you see Doku he's also coming infield. He's coming infield. He's going on the right wing. He's going on the left wing. He's taking on players. He's taking on shots that he wouldn't have taken in the past. And I think today was like a masterful performance. And also, I want to give a big shout out to Pep Guardiola. He's 1,000 professional game as a head coach. That is, and if you look at the statistics, like the wins, I think 1,000 games, about over 700 wins. 700 wins, 40 titles won, thereabouts. Like, he's in this game, I think, for years to come, when his time has been run, I think.
Is it league game or total game?
No, total. I think total games. 100 game as head coach. I think for me, he's the reference point for modern day football now. I know. The Cruyff. I think football is going to be looked at as before Pep and after Pep. I think I have a very funny relationship with Pep, but there's sometimes where I marvel at how
Pep. I'm not a Pep fan. Pep changed football. There's nothing you can be successful manager. To be successful and changing the game are totally two different things, right? Because in Johan Cruyff was, I think he was the coach of Barca, I think 1996 or something like that. As far back as then, there's so many coaches that have won more titles more than him. Fabio Capello had AC Milan. Arrigo Sacchi is another one who changed the game, not just about winning. Arrigo Sacchi was extremely more changing the game. You had Carlos Pereira for the national team. You had Marcelo Lippi for Juve, who was extremely successful. You had Ancelotti for AC Milan, successful. Even Eriksen also was highly successful with Lazio. You had
Jose Mourinho.
The
Jose Mourinho.
Was the Real Madrid one? The Real Madrid one. The Real Madrid coach that took over Spanish national team, I've forgotten his name. Not Aragonés, the other guy, the boss. But in all these guys, the three people that people, to some extent, give credit as regards changing the game. Wenger, they give him a lot of credits in the Premier League, how he changed the diet and all those things. Arrigo Sacchi so much. I remember my cousin was so obsessed with Arrigo. Like, his did not last long. Like, he faded so early. But Pep, to me, has been so like, till now. You have so many coaches playing out from the back. It tells you how influential he is.
And just to add, because again, I think also Pep, because I know you look at the Pep students, like the guys like Maresca, Arteta, Vincent Company, but also think the fact that all these three coaches, I know you can question to what extent is a Pep student. Is it by if you just spend a few years with Pep? But I think all those guys, even Alonso, you could see the fingerprints of Pep across all those guys, and some of them they play differently, but you can still see the work ethic between. And I know like top coaches all work hard, but again, I think you see the strive for perfection amongst those coaches, how they play with intensity
and all his Physicality. Apostles love control.
Yeah, exactly. And because like I have it here as one of my topics. Like, it's still like.
Do you know what shocked me? I saw a picture. This is on Friday. I don't know where I saw a picture of Enrique. Someone was saying this thing about Pep's kids or Pep's. When I mean kids, I don't mean in a bad way, but disciples or whatever.
Disciples.
He mentioned Enrique disciples to me. I said, which Enrique? I saw a picture. I'm like, Enrique? Because I've forgotten. I'm linking Enrique with Roma and then with, I think it's Celta Vigo or whatever. I forgot Enrique was the coach who took over from Pep in Barcelona Team B. Pep went over to the senior team. You remember when Pep went? I didn't. Yeah, but many people forget that Pep took over from Rijkaard in the senior team and left La Masia or Team B. Enrique took over from, because they were conducting training together. I knew they were teammates playing together, but I didn't know. I'm like, hold on. Well, he was not part of Pep's team, but he was coach of Team B. And he said Pep credited him, or he credited Pep about how Pep had changed his perception, changed how he reads the game. I'm like, damn, even Enrique, I didn't realize that also.
And I think with Pep, I think he's closer to his last game as a head coach.
No, I don't think he's going to stay long.
Yeah, and because I was watching a lot of Pep this week because it is 1,000 game. He got a lot of congratulations, literary messages from Klopp, a few from other coaches, and I just like his plan, like when he retires, he wants to enjoy life, go family, travel, all that stuff. But I was also thinking like, okay, the day Pep decides to leave City, I think the shortlist for his replacement at City would be basically all his disciples, majority of his disciples. That is, I don't know about. I think Arteta might rule himself out, but I think Enzo Maresca might be there. Vincent Kompany, who's doing fantastic at Bayern Munich, will be there. And I think there's potentially another coach that is on that he hasn't gotten his first job yet, but I think Thiago Alcantara, the way I think currently he's one of the assistants at Barcelona right now. I think Thiago Alcantara could be one of those guys that gets, because again we see it like the pathway to first team football as head coach is it's more open than it's ever been.
Yeah.
Like you see, like the guys like, and I'm happy for guys like the Brentford coach, Kit Andrews.
Yeah, Kit Andrews.
Jack Wilshere in League One. I'm happy for those guys. Even Craig Bellamy as the Welsh national team coach. I'm happy for these guys where, like, if it's more about the idea, the philosophy, and also the person. How are you as a leader? So it's no longer more about the tactics. Yeah, so it's very interesting. But again, like shout Pep out, there's. I think I remember when there was this debate, like, oh, can Pep do it in the Premier League? Can Pep do it in the Premier League? And I think he's what. I think he's shown that he's one of one. I think I will go as far as saying he's the greatest Premier League coach, without a doubt.
So me too. Let's go to the next one. Arsenal. We're supposed to go live early. I was in a discussion with my elder brother. We had a mild argument. Lasted more than 30 minutes, and then it was your text. With the time you sent me a text, I saw it. I'm like, I have to go over. And this is because of that argument. I want to bring you forth here. I want to rephrase our question or the topic because I told him, I said, listen, I watched the game against Sunderland, right? I was marveled, because I felt Sunderland I wouldn't say Arsenal were in control, but also Sunderland, they were, because if you check the first goal of Arsenal, there was a midfielder, I don't know who he is, from Sunderland, who lost the possession. That was just stupid to have lost that possession. I don't know who that was. Lafleur. And he lost possession several times in that game. That was he did that a lot. So, and I told my brother, I said, listen, I've watched this team, and I can tell you that one of the easiest way that I think any coach can do is to match people's intensity and physicality. Now, if you look at the stats, I came with the stats. These guys matched your. It's a difference into you can be big. These United are big, but they are not intense, right? Now, what am I saying? Yeah. I'm not saying that you guys are going to find it difficult now. I mean, around February, March, April. Not now. You can keep, because I'm looking at some teams, the likes of Bournemouth, the likes of Brentford. There are some teams that I feel that have what it takes to match you people. And he said no. The reason was Sunderland were home in the Stadium of Lights, and it was because they are difficult to beat. I said I accept that. That's number one. Say Gyökeres wasn't in the game when he's there. I said I don't really, because you win a lot of games without Gyökeres. It's not really about Gyökeres. I said, listen, this is why I'm telling you. I've watched so many of your games. You've won those games. You've had control, but you've not dominated. No, okay. This season, right? When I watched Liverpool last season win the league title, I came up with several games that Liverpool totally killed that game.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that same from Arsenal. I'm not saying they're not capable of doing that. It's not every day where Konak is going to win you games. It's not every time the throw-in is going to win you games. These things have been working. You are depending on this now for a long time. It's not every 4 games you score through the corner. You are now scoring every 2 games through the corner. And I don't know why it's taking too long to find you out. Today I was watching Brentford. There was a throw in they scored. I'm like, this is the reason why Kit Andrews had to be their coach. You just see where a specialist took over.
That's exactly. I agree.
So,
but
yeah, I'm listening.
Okay, I'll preface this by saying I'm not the biggest fan of Arsenal as a football club, as an organization, and as an entity. But I'll push back a little bit. I think there've been some games where Arsenal they've played not so good and they found a way to win. Like the first game of the season against United, they didn't play well, but they found a way to win. In the Liverpool game, they didn't win that game, of course. But I think the best performance Arsenal put in this season. I know a lot of people go to the game against Atletico Madrid in the Champions League, but I think the game against Newcastle was their best performance. And that was a game where they were in control. They created a lot of chances, not just set pieces, but they could have scored 3, 4, 5 that day. And they defended well, but they gave away a goal from a set piece.
And that was Newcastle were at home.
Yeah, exactly. Which like that's the top place for them. That's always been the top place for this Arsenal team to go. But I think the disappointment Arsenal will get from this Sunderland game, where, as you said, Sunderland matched their intensity. They were all in there when they're faced. They played some good football as well, which also at the same time it cost them because Enzo Lafay was caught on the ball and they equalized from that goal, from that action. But again, I feel in the running of the Premier League, again, it's a marathon or sprint, and I think this is one of those games you get when you play that Premier League, Champions League, Premier League cycle where. And I saw that lineup in the Champions League game. They went full strength. They had the 2 centre backs there. They had Saka there. And I looked at should you have made more rotations? And again, this is all hindsight. And should you have made more rotations to that level? Because what then you suffer on the weekend is when Sunderland match your intensity, and you have to then increase your intensity. Mm-hmm. You can't match it, or you can't increase it. And when they have injury worries. No Gokores, no Havertz, no Odegaard, and no Martinelli, and those are guys where you probably bring off the bench at 2-1.
Havertz is not even.
God. Yeah, exactly.
Those guys are so squad, man.
Yeah, but I think where the defining moment of that game was when he made that substitution to bring on Mosquera. And it's not to say Mosquera. Not to say Mosquera it's been fantastic, but it's the signaling of intention where. You bring on an extra centre back, you go 5. Okay, Sunderland start getting more time on the ball. They can play more football, and that's what led to the second goal. And it just shows even a team that's as good as Arsenal, they can make mistakes.
But then he went on to blame the goalkeeper for the last goal. Say Raya should have stood.
Yeah, he should have.
But this is why I told him. I said, listen, I understand what you're saying because Raya left his spot, right? But I would have accepted that if Gabriel wasn't the one marking the other guy. Yeah. Gabriel is the most physical of your players. Like he is. When you come to athleticism, you refer to Gabriel.
He got caught out.
But the other guy took a risk to raise his leg. That tells you how they wanted to win that game.
Yeah, and go.
Yeah, because if it's logical, he shouldn't put his leg. He could have. Remember, Joao Pedro got sent. I'm not comparing the both, but there are some balls you'll be rational. You'll be like, no, I can't. But to him, he was like, I can get that. Gabriel stretched, he couldn't get it, and he went in.
Yeah, it shows how a team that's so dominant from Arsenal defend the box better than any team across European football right now, in my opinion. But that little moment where you hesitate and the goalkeeper makes that rash decision to come out. But again, it just shows because this same guy, Brian Brobry, is the same guy that played against Chelsea. He held the ball up against those centre backs. I know it looked comical.
That was too annoying.
It looked.
Because Chaluba and Tosin waited to watch him, and the other guy called for reinforcement.
It's like every time that goal replays in my head, I'm just like, what the hell was happening there? But again, I think it speaks to Sunderland's credit. It's smart recruitment and a lot of good tactical planning. And like when you can bring on a guy that was starting for Ajax off the bench as a newly promoted team, it shows squad it shows depth. You bring a guy for me the signing of the season so far. I think Garnacho played. He didn't have the best game so far this season. Yeah, against Arsenal. But
man, whoever scouts that team scouts so well.
Solid.
Like the director of football of that team deserves a pay. Do you know how to go and check Sediki stats, right? I thought he was playing in French league. He wasn't. From Belgium.
Yeah. So,
from Union, your team, the ones in the Champions League. How do you pronounce their name?
Union Saint Gilloise.
Well, whatever Union.
You are French.
Union. He played for Union only 3 games. He was a formerly Belgian international because he's Congolese, right? I've looked at him. He's young, so I'm like, was he? So many of these Congolese were not born in Congo. So I wanted to know, is he born in Congo? I wanted to check his profile. He's more Belgian than Congo. He played for Belgium under 18 or whatever. So, but for them to scout, because he is the ideal person for Xhaka, because he doesn't. Xhaka takes all the spotlights, right? But he gives him permission or allows him. Like, it reminds me of Matic and Conte. That season we are all singing Conte's. I'm not comparing the both of them. Don't get me wrong. But Matic enabled Conte to do so many things. Not Conte, Kante, sorry. Enabled Kante to do so many things he did that season. Because it was the combination of the both of them that made it possible.
Yeah. That's a good shout. And I want to give a shout out to the central defender that scored the first goal, Daniel Ballard. I think he's been a very good performer this year. I remember against even the Chelsea game again. He's so, like, you talk about Sunderland's intensity, but physicality, they are so strong. That Sunderland team is physically strong, and I think Dan Ballard is another one. And he had that block on, I think it was on Moreno, like late in the game. Like those are the kind of things that you see for.
Statistically, I wanted to tell you also. He's a former Arsenal player.
Yeah, exactly.
He joined Arsenal when he was 7, and then he played for till like 17 or something. He struck he struck that ball the way, reminded me the way Maguire used to strike the ball. He used to strike it so hard. That's so good.
No, he looked, and I know it's still early, but I think he's been solid. And again, when you can recruit the way they've recruited, like bringing guys from Champions League level teams, Bayern Leverkusen, bringing guys from I'll be the Red Bull group, Leipzig, and getting another guy from Atletico Madrid. Like, these are all quality guys that you can get to your team. But also the coaching, like, shout out to the coaching as well.
Yeah.
But I think, but just final on Arsenal. I've seen, and I hate when football fans, and when you get bad result, then everybody starts going over the top. You can be analytical, but you can, because I'm seeing a lot of conversations about, is Eze doing enough? Is Timber?
No, hell no.
Is Timber the right type of fullback we need? Is Moreno this? Like, again, like, winning the Premier League, this is what happens. Like, you get games like this, and I think it's important how they bounce back, because again, coming back from the international break, they have tough games. I think they have a North London derby.
Chelsea, yeah. It's going to be a good game. So, quickly to the next one. Garnacho had a very good game against our Wolves yesterday. I think statistically he created 3 chances, 2 big chances, 3 chances in total. He had 50% successful dribbles. He had 2 assists. He had 3 key passes. He had 5 crosses into the box. In total, at the end of this, if you look at his season as a whole, he has played 6 Premier League games, 1 goal, 2 assists, and that's not that's. What can you say about his game yesterday?
As a certified Garnacho,
as a certified hater.
No. Well, like, I think when it comes to Garnacho, well, you know what, you're right. But I think with Garnacho, like, sometimes I'm happy to be proved wrong, particularly when it comes to the benefit of my team doing well. And I think with Garnacho, because when you get a new player into a team, say we forget like blank slate. I don't know anything about this guy. I don't know the backstory. I don't know the social media angle with him. But you bring in a new player, attacking player, to comes into the team, and it's, again, context matters. You say, like, no preseason. Like, not even with, because sometimes some players have preseason at another club when they transfer. Like, he missed the entirety of preseason at both clubs, and he's thrown into a club where he's a bit not clear, but a bit quick, and I think you're waiting for that performance where you announce yourself. I know he's scored a couple of goals before this weekend, but I think that's the performance where the coach goes out like, that's it. That's what I want from you. That's why we got you. That's why we brought you to this football club. And this should be your base now. Not getting to assists or creating, but that. And I think what I enjoyed is more the direct running in behind.
Yeah,
and you can see slowly like that understanding with his teammates is already building. Like you saw Enzo Fernandez a few times looking for his run in behind the defense. But I think the creativity, the vision for both goals. I love the second goal. Sorry, the second assist for Neto.
yeah.
That's
He
how
took
you
the
execute.
player on, yeah, and he
That's
created
how you execute a counter attack and how you set it on the plate for a teammate, and that's what I love to see. I know it's not, people look at that, okay, that's a tapping, but that's a well constructed, that's a team goal, that's a well constructed goal. And again, for him, I think it's more of the same. He just needs to keep like we spoke about Doku, like keep your head down. You have the dots, connect the dots, find your way into the team. First, I think there's someone at the club that likes him. I don't know if it's the manager or some of the sporting directors.
Yeah.
I think someone at that club really is a fan of him, and it's just left for him to, like, you know what, just raise the standard, keep the standard, and
these guys, this modern players started football very, very early. That's the advantage they have. I was watching Onana today. Amadou Onana, I watched the goal he scored against is it Beaumont? Yeah, Beaumont.
Yeah,
the shot that he took from the distance, and I'm like, hold on, he's big, actually, very, very big. Not just tall, he's big.
No, he's massive.
He's massive. Like when the camera comes close to him, you see how massive.
Like it gives me this player, God bless his soul, Buba Papa Diop. He has that kind of physicality.
Just reminded me.
Like
that guy had like Buba Diop had like 3 goals in a season where I remember that season it was for Fulham, right? I think he played for Portsmouth later, but he was very successful with Fulham because Fulham used to be Fulham with Balmote. Let's not digress. So he's big. So I'm like, hold on, can't although the other guy is way more and learn how to play a little deeper like he does, because I feel Leslie is more skilled than Onana is. But now I'm like, hold on, I had to check their age. I looked at Onana. That guy is still 24 years old. 24.
And I think he's been in the Premier League for
over 4 years. So now, and he's Belgian. He's not even French. So he has played in Belgium. I forgot where he played for the first time. They now sold him to Lille. He now went to Lille to Everton. So I'm like, if he's still 24, I checked to Guchuku. Guchuku is only 21. I'm like, damn, so it's just 3 years difference. These guys, they started ball so early. Let's quickly go to the next one. You wanted us to discuss, was it Manchester United or which club I think it was Newcastle.
I think let's do Newcastle and Brentford. Again, I just want to give big shout out to the coach at Brentford. I think it's because, again, there was a lot of conversation about he's just a set piece coach, he does this and that. But when there was a video that was on that got put on, I think, on YouTube about their preseason, they were on preseason and you just see him communicating with the players, just training drills. But when you listen to him talk, like he looked like a first team manager. He looked like a guy that had been at that job for a long time, and in a way he's been at that club for a long time. So I think it made sense. But I think the way he's found a way to get this team playing, because again they lost a lot. They lost players, but it's also at the same time it's also testament to their recruitment style where they get players and they allow them incubate. Kayode was there last season.
But the other guy left a very solid foundation for him. He lost lots of players, but the foundation was very, very solid.
Yeah, and like Kayode has been one of the best fullbacks this season, and you bring in good experience in a title-winning goalkeeper from Liverpool. That's good. They have a good centre back. I like Collins. I think he's top. But I think
I was thinking Nathan. Who is it? Nathan Collins. I was thinking the other West guy, O'Kuman, was as good as Collins.
No. K-Man is no.
But they are from the same team. They are both wolves. Yeah. Just like Tarkovsky and me. And what's the second one? I think it's up to me. Yeah. So sometimes you struggle to know who is better until you separate them. You realize you got a better deal. Yeah, continue.
And and I just want to focus on the attack because when Igor Thiago, like he's been, when you lose the goals that Wissa and Ibrahim brought to that team, you need a guy, a focal point, a guy that knows how to hold up the play, score enough goals, good threat on the counter attack. I think Igor Thiago is one of the most complete forwards in the Premier League right now. Like the physicality he plays with, he's tough to handle. When you combine the strength, the speed, the technicality of Shade, I think Shade is another very good player. And Damsgaard is. And when you see all those guys, and the other Dango Quatara, club record signing, he gave Dambon a tough day today. Dambon ended up getting sent off and gave away a penalty. But like on the counter, that way they invite you in to play your football.
But why does he play Dambon on the left?
I don't understand.
Even in a three-man defense, I can't even play him on the left side of a three-man defense. I don't just get it.
Lewis, you have a guy like Lewis Hall on the bench. And others, you know what, Dambon is your guy. I get it, Dambon is your guy. But Lewis Hall doesn't get any shine at that club. I don't. And I think Lewis Hall from Chelsea's Paris.
Yeah.
We know Lewis Hall. I think he's good.
Yeah, he's good.
I don't know how. I think probably there's some issues with him physically or his health. But if you're going away to Brentford, they're going to sit very deep. They're going to invite you and they'll hit you with counters very quickly. And I think Dambon he was a victim waiting. Tonight. It's
not like he's playing the same position with Shade. He's playing with Quatara.
Yeah, and that's one of the
fastest, and he's also big, so physical. So that's a very, very wrong matchup. I think the first minute he gave away the penalty. They gave Quatara that. No, was he the one who? Yeah, he gave away a penalty, but they corrected the penalty. But that was the first sign that things were heating up. Yeah, he died a little. Yes.
The ref doesn't. I feel the ref doesn't want to give it because if he gives it, he has to send that player off, and it's one of those where you know what. It looks the player, the dive look or the fall looked a bit
excessive. Yeah.
But a few minutes later, the same thing happened again. They collided, they got the penalty, and Dambon went off. But again, just with Newcastle, I feel they're back. We've seen this with Newcastle a few years ago, where that Champions League, Premier League schedule
they struggle with.
And when you talk about teams that play with intensity, like Newcastle, a team that they play with intensity. They don't like intensity is their game. And this is back to back weekends where the game they had against West Ham last week, where they were poor against West Ham, they were so bad. And again today, they score first. Harvey Barnes, brilliant goal ball,
individual brilliance.
But just between that, there's not there. And again, I know it's not alarm bells, but it's still early in the season. But at this moment in time, they are 2 points away from relegation places.
Yeah.
And I know it's still early. They have enough. I know they'll talk about the Isaac situation. That second big money signing hasn't really played, has barely played. Johan Wissa and Elanga. Well, I'm a big fan of Elanga, but I think Elanga hasn't.
No, so many of them. But when you criticize Elanga, I criticize Anthony Gordon. It's double trouble for you.
Exactly.
They both are just underwhelming.
Yeah,
and Harvey Barnes has never been consistent. That was my greatest.
They have.
The only consistent guy is Jacob Murphy, because to me, having had the season he had last season and he's having a good season this year, at least I know I can effort. He will not cheat me on effort. But you have Harvey Barnes, you have Anthony Elanga, you have Gordon. That's a big problem.
And I think they've also I think they obviously have injuries. Livramento is missing. Like most teams have injuries as well. But I look at like. They need to start picking up. They need to get away from sort of, because I think at St James Park they're as good as any team in the Premier League at home. But I think their away from needs to get better, because that's 11 games, 3 wins and 5 losses. It's not.
Let's quickly go to Manchester United.
And anybody that had the unfortunate task of watching that game, that was a terrible football match.
I joined this. I watched a little bit first half. But second half, the first half was dry. Hold on. Do you notice the moment that Matitel equalized?
Came on.
No, he came on 79 minutes. I forgot when he equalized, maybe 80. That was Manchester United had only recorded 1 shot on target, and that was the goal. So for the first 80 minutes, I don't know if they recorded another shot on target. Man, you did not record a shot.
I think it's one of those games where, like, we talk about, like a donut where there's a hole in the middle. There was a big hole in that midfield. The midfield players on show were bad. Palhinha, I'm not a huge fan of Palhinha. I never understood the hype behind him. And Pape Metesa was bad, was poor. Xavi Simons, I don't know what he's up to. Casemiro and Bruno Fernandes were just as bad, and it was a hard watch. It was a very I don't know how the game ended up with 4 goals, but that's it. But again, Tottenham, their bad home form continues, and I think we'll flesh out Tottenham discussion in our next topic. But I think with United, that's 5 games unbeaten now. But for them, the worry is their second half performances.
But funny enough, yeah, finish.
I think statistically they're one of the worst teams in the Premier League based on second half performances, and that's one of those things where I look at the coach where you set up the team this way, you go out there, you perform, you have the lead or whatever, and you go in a halftime. The opposition team then obviously corrects something or they make a change, and you don't know how to react to that change. And the thing he does this formulaic substitution where he brings on Ugarte and he's bringing on Euro or Maguire based on who starts. So he takes off, if Maguire is starting, he takes off Maguire, brings on Euro, and vice versa. And he brings on Ugarte. But every time Ugarte steps on that pitch, it's one of those is why I feel it's one of those agent and club relationship deals. But if anybody in that recruitment team sat down, watched Ugarte's tape, saw this data behind him, the passing, what makes a midfield player, and decided to pull that trigger. Because again, this is a 50 million pound player.
Mm-hmm.
If people forget, he calls this one, but Ugarte is bad. And I don't know how Kobe. I know obviously Kobe was missing to this game that because of injury, but I don't know how that midfield is, and Mino can't get into that team. It's a worry. And when you go up to pitch, I think, but with them, they have quality in attack. I think Ahmad and Ryan Mbeumo. I think Ryan Mbeumo is our best player. Right? He's the best player of that team right now. He's really hitting it. But the other 2 new attackers, Cunha and Sesko. And Sesko's probably injured now for a long time. But Cunha is no.
You still don't? No, I think he will come good. He has enough talent.
He has, but also I think he's a player that comes with a lot of bad habits as an attacking player, and you need the coach to help coach out or minimize
rein him in.
Yeah, exactly. Remedy those bad habits, and you see him. It's just. I know it's still early, and I know the shirt weighs heavy sometimes, but I just feel like it's not because when Messi came on in the sector in the last quarter of the game, and they suddenly looked more of an attacking threat.
No, funny enough, the first game I watched Messi was against Fulham. I don't think he hasn't excited me this season, but he hasn't played that badly. Also,
yeah, it's good. I think he's a player. That's one. He has good characteristics for an attacking player, but I don't think he has enough creativity or score. But I think he's a good Premier League player. He carries himself around the pitch well, presses well, can create, can shoot. He's okay, but you really need Cunha to start hitting the ground running, and for a team that doesn't have any European commitments, where they play Saturday to Saturday, like the intensity in that game sometimes is just no. Because again, Tottenham played on Wednesday, or Tottenham played on Tuesday in the Champions League, and they played early kickoff on Saturday. You expect them to be a bit of fatigue from both games.
I think there's something about the Champions League that when you finish, I don't really think it's physically or physical fatigue. I think there's mental drain that comes with playing Champions League games, because I've noticed it with Chelsea this season. I noticed it to some extent with Aston Villa. If you remember last season, they struggled until the end of the season. They started picking up. I noticed Newcastle is just the same exact. So is it that when you hear the national anthem on that Wednesday, in your mind, this is the most important game at the end of that Champions League to come down and play the league game?
Because like Newcastle are doing amazingly good. They're doing fantastic in the Champions League, but the Premier League is not. It's falling behind. So I think it's how you get that, and for teams that are not always in it, it's difficult to get that balance right, and especially when you have a team like that squad. Because I saw that lineup with Richarlison, Kolomwani, Johnson, like Simmons. That's big money players there. That's almost close to somewhere between 200 million spent on those attacking players all in. It's not. I know point fingers at Thomas Frank and his coaching methods. They will go back. They will mention the those cliches. Is he a top? Is he a mid-table manager? All those like. I feel Tottenham they need to find a way to get goals and creativity to that side because when you lose Son, Kulusevski, Madison, that was about 50 goals and assists last season, and you lose those guys, and there's no Solanke. I don't know what's happened to Solanke. Then you have to rely on Richarlison. Like at some point, someone needs to tell Richarlison, whenever you score a goal, because he doesn't score goals frequently. Whenever you score don't take your shirt off. Like I don't care how late it is in the game. Don't take your shirt off. That's the second time. The second time he's done it.
He scored a hat trick. Yeah, beginning of the season. I think first game of the season against Burnley.
Immediately, no.
Like and the job is to score goals. So if you keep taking off your shirts, that means you're gonna be suspended 7 games into the season when you score 5 goals.
Well, the good or bad thing for him is that he doesn't score goals frequently, so he might not get enough yellow cards to tally up to a suspension. But I think Thomas Frank is a project manager. I think you need to.
That guy had one of the best stats I've ever. One of the best stars in Watford. I won't say history, but Premier League. Like the first 10 games, I think he scored 6-7 goals. Richarlison when he moved to Watford, I remember. But he dried up towards the end of the season.
Yeah, I just think he's one of those players that good, but not. They're like Richarlison is like a Dembaba, like something like you're good at Newcastle, top at Newcastle. You go to Chelsea, it's not so great, but it is what it is. And yeah.
That should be all for us today. If you are watching us, smash the like button, drop your comments. Sunderland, they are winning 4-2, so expect excitement from our Spanish correspondent. Saying it here, I'm like, oh my god, I have nothing to talk about. You come and tell you they'll beat Chelsea 5-0.
I was keeping up with the game, so yeah, well, congratulations to them.
Okay, thanks a lot. Have a good day. Bye-bye.
Yeah, see you.